Thought you'd gotten rid of us, didn't
I love beer. I love beer. I love beer. I love beer. All right, I drink bourbon. All right, I drink bourbon. Got bourbon up there. Now, Laura, there is no way to ever prove my thesis. It's impossible. It's a paradox. There's just no way. So there is no way to ever prove my thesis. It's impossible. It's a paradox. There's just no way. So.
Okay, so here you have Archaix, who's just like completely going psychotic, trying to attack Daydreamers and Billy Carson. And like I said, you know, Archaix is an avatar of the old dragon, and he's constantly trying to make war with Adam and the remnant seed. And Adam is, you know, all over there's avatars of Adam all over the world, just like there's avatars of Satan, the old dragon, all over the world. So I've showed, you know, avatars of Satan include Bruce Lee, Jim Morrison, Barack Obama, Dylan Brooks on the Houston Rockets. He's Villain Brooks. He's, you know, Snidely Whiplash in the Bullwinkle cartoon is the old dragon. Goofy in the Walt Disney characters, the old dragon. He's Anubis, you know, and Jay Leno is the old dragon. There's a lot of them. And there's also ones around your house. I mean, you know, the mechanic down the street or the checkout guy at the supermarket. So there's avatars of these people all around the world, all over the place. They're all around you. And, you know, the Red King, the King of Hearts, would be, you know, like I said, well, Daydreamers is one of them. That's why he's so, like, positive, you know. There's a whole lot more. I mean, Steve Kerr, the coach for the Warriors, and also Steph Curry, they're both the Red King. I don't know, Eazy-E was a Red King, the rap gangster, you know, and Dudley Do-Right is the Red King. So there's a lot of, Neil Young is the Red King, you know, Bob Dylan is the Red King. So there's a lot of versions of the Red King all around the world too. The Red King is more like a principled, like positive. He represents the light, the good, positive side of the male principle, whereas the old dragon, you know, Archaix, represents the dark or negative, like evil side. So it's the battle between evil and good. And this is why Archaix is constantly hammering on the good side of the male principle. And that's why he's going after, you know, Daydreamers and Billy Carson, because they're his natural enemies. And, you know, he's trying to make war on the remnant seed. So Adam is the father of the 144. You understand? The real natural born humans. They're 144 because they have 144 DNA strands. 72 from Adam and 72 from Eve. And so anyway, that's a big explanation. But long story short, one of his attacks on Daydreamers is wrong. It's false. And he keeps claiming that, you know, the plasma apocalypse belonged to these like real truthers, Mia Austin Lambert and you know, Brian Austin Lambert and Mia, new pair of glasses or whatever her name is. And then they died, and they mysteriously died. Like he's basically insinuating that Daydreamers killed them, or that Daydreamers is part of some government plot to kill him. And the whole thing is completely wrong. He's just he's an idiot. You know, he's a liar, he's a grifter, he's running a satanic cult, and he's not that smart. He's just not a very smart person. So he talks big words and says a bunch of lyrical phrases that catches dumb people's attention. But if you really look at him, he's actually quite slow and very dim. And it's common for all the old dragons. They're like that. They sound like they know what they're talking about. They're very good talkers, but they're just not that bright. This is how all of them are. I've run into them. I've had friends. I've had co-workers. All I know what they're like, and they're just not that bright. It took my mom. My mom said once of one of them. She's like, just not the sharpest tack in the, not the sharpest tool in the box. And I thought about it, and I was like, she's right. This guy is not that smart. And so bottom line, this whole Brian Austin Lambert and Mia thing is all a sham. What it really is that they're the agents, not J Dreamers. They're the agents. They are like CIA fake truthers, as is Archaix, and basically they're put on scam artists. They're Canaanites, and they've been scamming the truth community for a long time. It's a husband and wife team, and they did a scam back in, I don't know, whatever, early 2000 or late 2000, like whatever, 2010, whatever, 15, I don't even know when it was. But they had this truth channel, and they talked about this plasma apocalypse, and they told everyone that there was going to be like an apocalypse, and that they had the way out of it, and that if you gave them money, you would be saved from the apocalypse. So they were total, truthers, which is actually what Archaix is doing right now. He's scamming a lot of money from these duped, cult member errants. He's taking the cult. The errants are largely, upper middle age, like 60-year-old, like washed up fake truther white women and white guys too. But it's basically like a white racist cult. If you look at the Archaix demographic, they're all washed up old fake truthers, and they're all white. And it's creepy because Archaix has got he's got a whole like, bunch of like white power racist like markers in his profile. He's an admitted member of the Aryan Brotherhood in prison. He has white power tattoos. He's like said he was proud to have voted for Trump. He's just, who's got his Harley. He's just to me, he's just like a Texas white trash prison guy, white power guy that read books, and then he's trying to make grift money off of it. He's not that smart. And, he's been put on by the beast system. He's the old dragon. So all of these, Jimi Hendrix was the old dragon, Bruce Lee, Morgan Freeman. The character Jason, Friday the 13th, is based out on Satan, the old dragon. And a lot of times their name is Jason or Jay. That's why, you have Jay Leno and, Jason, Friday the 13th. Another one is Hannibal Lecter, like Hannibal Lecturer. A lot of times they're professors or lecturers. That's Satan, So you got to watch out for them. If they're, called a professor or something like that, they could be Satan too. And they just have all the power of the beast system behind them. And, but back to this plasma apocalypse thing, what it really is, I'm the only person who ever figured this out that I know of. I'm the only person that figured this out. And what it is Brian Austin Lambert and Mia are actually Amazing Polly and her husband. And if you look at Amazing Polly and you look at Mia and you see it's the same woman, it's the same voice. I picked it up from her voice. And it's the same woman, and they're they're a truther grift scam couple. And what happened is they ran the truther scam with the plasma apocalypse in, like, let's just say 2000, 13 or 12 or whatever, 15, somewhere around there maybe. I don't even know. And they got all this money, and then they faked their death. And they took the money and ran. And they built a lot of truthers for a considerable amount of money, and they made a killing. And they probably were like, wow, well, that wasn't that hard. These truthers are idiots. The truth narrative was made by the beast system to capitalize on people's weaknesses and sins. And it's just like the mainstream narrative, really, when it really comes down to it. Narrative is the same story as the mainstream narrative. You can't see it. I don't know, you're just blinded. But it's the same beast system story in a different package. It's like McDonald's made a fake health food sandwich and you believed them. It's like, no, it's not health food. It's McDonald's in a different package. So you need to wake up. The truth narrative is fake. But anyway, so these truthers got duped, and they were like, it was easy to dupe them. So let's dupe them again. So I'll dye my hair and I'll come back as Amazing Polly. And this time I'm going to be a Christian, because I noticed that the Christians are even more willing to spend money because they believe they're going to get saved, And so that's a really good way to make money, like Kenneth Copeland, right? So that's what they did. And I'm telling you right now, to this day, Amazing Polly is raking in the dough. And recently, I started outing her about a couple years ago. And it caught on. And she's got a lot of hecklers, and she almost hung it up, but the hecklers kind of died down, maybe because I got more occupied with Archaix and Mud Fossil and these other fakers and Richie. But bottom line, these guys are making a ton of money. She's probably made so much money. Amazing Polly. She's got all her monetized channels, and she's putting out all those like supposedly Christian truther videos, and she's a good talker. And that's all it is. So Archaix is completely lost. And I've got videos. I have a video where I show it, where they show the video of Mia's new pair of glasses. I forget her name. And Amazing Polly. And you can see it. It's the same blue eyes. It's the same lady, just a little bit young, 5-10 years younger, and with dyed black hair. But if you listen close to the voice and you look, and I froze all the frames, and the cheekbones, the nose, everything, nostrils, everything matches up exactly. And she also has the same content in her speech. It's always that whiny, victim, and the same kind of like, narrative that she's talking about. So it's not a maybe, for sure, for 100% sure. I stake my life on it. Mia is Amazing Polly. So you're wrong, Archaix. You're wrong, and you're just looking for any reason to attack Daydreamers because you're evil, because you're the old dragon. That's what's really going on. And, I'll break the news to you, Archaix. What's really going to happen to you is you're going to prison. I saw it in visions, and I asked for confirmation the other day, and I got it. I looked over. I was like, God, is Archaix going to prison? And I asked a date. I'm not going to share that. But I looked over, and I was parked in my truck, and I looked over, and what I saw was a building I saw a sign on a building, apartment building, and the building was called, guess what? Casa Grande. So you figure it out. The big house. So yes, and like I'm telling you, people don't believe in my visions, but you just go back and look at my channel, and you look at all the stuff I've revealed. Anybody who's followed close and listened has to say, how is this guy coming up with this stuff? And anybody that's here in the Bay Area that Scott drove around and looked into it, they were really going to say, how did this guy know, like, this thing was a heart in Bayview Park, and what the hell, you know? If you go up to Bayview Park here in San Francisco and you look at that and see it's a heart, you will not doubt me anymore. And I'm telling you, I saw it in visions. So it was when I saw that heart, when I went up to that park and I saw that, I had visions. They said, it won't be long till you see the crystal rocks of your heart. It was some lyrics from like a Journey song. And visions told me to go to this park. I'd never even been there. I live in San Francisco, you know, I was born here. And never even been up to that park because it's over in the ghetto. And, you know, I went up there and sure enough, visions were right. I just see things daily, all the time I see things, and they're never wrong. It's been going on since like 2015. So believe it or not, I don't care. But all I'm telling you, Archaix, is, you know I'm not a joke. You know what I'm saying because you're taking a lot of my content. You're impressed. You're like, how the hell does this guy know this about Giza and the Nile and the kidney of Africa? And you're like, what the fuck? I know, I can see it. You know, that's why you're taking my content. So you just listen. You listen close. You're going back to the big house. I saw it in visions. So you might as well, if I were you, I would just hang all this up right now. You know what I mean? I would apologize to Jay Dreamers. I would apologize to Billy Carson. I would apologize to me and that all those other little channels that you got banned with your report parties. Because Archaix, what he did was he went and he got his errands. Anybody that criticized Archaix, he got his errands to flag their videos with, you know, saying it was hate speech or bully, whatever he could think of, you know. And so, you know, he's got all these people. They're basically NPCs, Satan's fallen third angels. They're all, if you look at the crowd that follows Jason, they're mostly transhuman women. So they're actually, you know, former dudes that are now old, washed up white women, single, crazy, old stoner white women that believe in, like, you know, stupid fake truth like David Icke and Anunnaki from, you know, the early 2000s. That's who follows Archaix. Okay, the other thing about Archaix is, when he was in prison, he got all these, he was in the Aryan Brotherhood. He's an admitted member of the Aryan Brotherhood. So he's like a racist. And he has all these like racist Aryan Brotherhood, like white power tattoos. And if you look at the Aryans, the people who follow him, there's not a single pigmented person in his cult. They're all white people. So let's take a look. Here he is. He's in Vegas. I mean, how cheesy. Look at wearing this like white shirt. Just like Jim Jones, you know? And so he's just following the exact same cult script. But look at these people. He's going to show his audience. But they're all white. Look. There's one guy who looks like he's in his 50s. But the rest of them all look like they're like in their 60s. They're all like washed up, you know, I don't know, whatever. They're all like washed up 90s fake truthers is what they are. 2000s, 90s. These are people who believed in David Icke, you know, and Zachariah Stitchin and all that, like 90s and early 2000s fake truth. So these people are just idiots. They're all white. You know what I mean? There's not a brown person in here. Look at this. This is a white as snow audience. So you tell me, you know, and look at them. They're mostly old 60-year-old women, you know, and the women, they look like tranny women, transhuman women. Like, look at these two bitches in the front. They got men's body style. Big old jaw bones, you know, give them a crew cut, and those are dudes. You know, so this is who follows Archaix. It's NPC transhumans, old white, fake, washed up, stupid fake truthers that believed in stuff like Zachariah Stitch, and these are. So, you know, you following this guy, you give, you know, but they have money. These are like people who probably had, you know, whatever decent jobs and have a little, like a tiny retirement. They're probably not a lot of rich people, but they have money and they're giving it. He's fleecing them. They're people who are probably, you know, retired or older. They don't have a life, so they're just watching YouTube. They run across Archaix, and then they get, you know, hooked into his cult. So whatever, you know, I just can't believe people follow this guy. But when you think about it, that they're just NPCs, and you see the jawbones on these women, look at all three of them are, look at how long, that's a male arm right there. Look how long her arm is, as long as my femur. Like all of them are like that. So right there, there's 3 transhuman women right in the front. All of them are. So there's probably in this audience 50 people or 60 people, and there's probably only maybe 5 or 10 real humans. And then the rest of them are filler people that are there to help steal the souls of that 5 or 10 real humans. So, you know, by people seeing all these other people, it's like, oh, I'm in a community now, you know? So that's why he's got all these NPCs following him. The beast system has made this cult. The beast system made Jason. The beast system made all these people follow him, give him the money, and then in exchange for all this big show, the beast system is going to steal about 5 or 10 of these souls in this audience. It's probably, you know, total he may get, I don't know, may get 1,000 souls. He's got 173 subscribers. Maybe 1,000 are real humans, and they're going to lose their soul because they gave their friggin' retirement and worshiped this guy, and they'd already done some bad actions, and that was enough contractual obligation for God to just write them off and say, you know, you didn't make it. You didn't pass the test. You know, do not pass go. You're property of Satan now. And that's what's going to happen to these people, you know. And I'm not trying to save them. They deserve it. You know what I mean? I'm just here blowing the whistle. And there might be, of that 1,000 that get taken, there might be 4 or 5 that God wants to save out. And they may run across my video and say, you know, this guy, he is making sense. And now that I think about Jason and I see all the negative, dark stuff and the way he is, how dark he is, this guy, you know, might be right about him. And that's what these videos are for. You know, and also, I mean, I really don't care about that. I'm not really trying to save, you know, any Archaix errands from, you know, the wrath of Satan. It's their own fault, you know. I'm just here to show the 144 that Satan's among us in many different faces and how he operates. And so you can start to recognize him because he's in all our lives. People just can't see him. Satan, I was talking to a young kid, a homeless kid the other day, and he said something really smart. He said, I don't think Satan wants to be seen. And that's what it is. So he uses these kind of people like Jason. But there's laws, you know, he has to tell us who he is. But if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. And that's why I say, if you listen to the name Archaix, it tells you he's the old dragon. Archaic is old. X is the dragon. You know, it's old dragon, right in his name, right to your face. He says right to your face, I'm Satan. But these people don't want to listen. And, you know, he's also got a pitchfork in his logo. And if that's not enough, he's also told you break free or die trying, which is a satanic, you know, mantra. It's break the 144 DNA chain, the strands. Break the chains of God. Break the DNA chain. Add a 3rd strand with the warp speed juice, and you got 216 strands, which is equals 666. So that's what this is really about. So I don't really care. I'm not trying to bust Archaix or save any of these people. I'm just trying to show you in the truther community, Satan is here. He's here. He's also Roger Mudfossil. And probably a lot of other truthers I'll run across. I'll expose them too, but that's what he is. So anyway, I'll show you some more stuff. But this is let's watch. This is an all white power, right? All white power, all old idiots that thought this guy, is their savior, and they gave their retirement to this guy. And now it's the apocalypse, and they believe he told these people that they're in a simulation on a capital ship, and he told them that when there's going to be an apocalypse in 2040, and that when the apocalypse happens, all of his errands will be taken from the simulation and on a separate ship to a better, good simulation. He says this is a crappy simulation, but that if you follow him and send him money, he's going to lead you to a good simulation. So, I mean, if that's not enough cultishness for you, I don't know what is. So, I mean, right there, case closed. Like I said, Archaix, you're cooked. We've debunked you. You no longer have any true weight with any real truthers. You're done. Smoked. So, over now. This is San Francisco Truther. The first one to bust Archaix 3 years ago, and I'll be the first one to bust him when they open those iron gates and put him back behind bars, because he is going back. Jason, listen to me. I promise you, you are going back to prison. There's not a thing you can do to get out of it. All right, over and out. They believe in like that kind of crap, and so if you just stop for a minute and think about what's happening with you, Archaix, you have a problem with alcohol. I mean, you've shown it on your channel. You've definitely got a drinking problem, in my view, and one of the problems with alcoholism is you go into denial and you have delusions of grandeur. So what's happening with you right now is you're just spitting fake truth. You were given books by, Zachariah Stitchin's handler, Paul Tice, your publisher. And we all know Zachariah Stitchin is a big J, Canaanite, Begel shill. All that Anunnaki is 100% fake. And so, you were just given fake truth books and steered by the devil, by the beast system. You're just an NPC. You're just like a created avatar for Satan. He needs to come into people's lives, and he uses people. He uses meat suit bodies to do it. And that's probably what God does too. And so Satan's copying him, basically, to explain that phenomenon. But so that's what you're doing, Jason. You're not, in your mind, I truly would not be surprised. I think Jason believes he's like some special, scholar or some notable, like he's going to change the truth community. He's just like this. He's going to go down in history as being like this, mammoth, amazing, groundbreaking truther. And what's really going to happen to you is you're going to go down as a fraud, as a shill, as another mega shill. But this time it's going to be even worse, because you're not going to be like Alex Jones or Stu Peters or Richie, where everybody just knows you're a scumbag shill. You're going to go down as a satanic cult leader. You're a cult leading shill and a Satanist too. And you're also going to get popped for quite a few crimes. So you made your little video about Satan's season. Oh no, there's no Satan season and all that. All it is you're in denial. I don't know the Bible. I know the Bible through visions. I don't know it through studying it. People who study the Bible have to guess. They're like blindfolded pinata swingers. And a lot of times, they get their meanings from other misleading, demonic sources, like preachers that are demonically controlled, or fake truthers like Archaix that are demonically controlled. So you can't trust it. I know I can trust the visions. Most people don't believe in them, but if you've had visions, you'll know what I'm talking about. And very, very few people have had these kind of visions. Very few. So I would say of all the 100,000 truthers, there's 2 or 3 of them that had these kind of visions. So, but if you've had them, you believe me. Otherwise, you're probably not even going to believe in them. But that's your problem, not mine, But Archaix knows, he's studied enough books to hear about visions and visionaries, and that this is a real phenomenon. And he knows that I'm seeing something because he knows everything I've said about him is true, And so Archaix, like I'm saying, you're not getting out of this. You're not going down as some big wig, amazing truther. You're going down as the scumbag of the truth community, like in this era. That's what's going to happen to you. And you are going to go to prison, like permanently. Like you're going to get locked up, So, and you don't believe in Satan's season, but like I said, I don't even know the passage that's something you cited it or whatever. I don't even know what that is. I don't know anything about Satan's season. All I know is what I see in visions and what I see with the avatars of Satan. And if you look at them all, they all go through some kind of like Satan's little season thing in their life, every single one of them. Just look at Kenneth Copeland. Look what just happened to him. He had private jets. He had money falling out his ass. He made so much money, probably sex, all kinds of stuff was going on. He just, he bilked billions of dollars out of people. And he went on for ages like that, years. And he just got tried, and he got life in prison, Archaix. He got life in prison for what he did. And you're using the exact same formula as him. You haven't gone on that long, you haven't made as much money as him, but you're going to go to prison, and you're going to get a pretty hefty sentence. And then I don't think you're getting out, because things will happen. So that's what I saw, so, and so you don't believe in Satan's season, and I don't even know the passage, and maybe you think you proved it, that there is no such thing, and maybe there isn't or whatever, but all I can tell you is every one of these members or every one of these avatars of Satan has this big hurrah, and they make a bunch of money and get a bunch of sex and all this sinful stuff and all this greed and all this deception, and they dupe and they steal a bunch of souls, and they dupe a bunch of people for the devil, and they then eventually the Red King and his children cut the guy's neck and lock him up, and that's what's going to happen to you. It's already happening to you. You just can't see it. You're farther down the road than you think. I don't think you could even pull out now. Even if you dropped everything and went on the straight and narrow, I don't think you could get out of it. You're too deep. You're going down. And the vision said it. So, you can't get out of it. So that's what it is, Archaix. That's where you're really at. You're not some big intellectual scholar. You're a criminal. You're a satanic puppet. You're just an avatar of Satan, and you're going to prison. God's going to lock you up for 1,000 years, basically. And so I just want to give you a little reality check, because you sure do talk a lot. You sure got a lot of ego involved, and you've done a lot of damage, and. So, yeah, okay, so all the people would say, look at Bhagwan Rajneesh, another avatar of Satan. What happened to him? He got busted. And Sheila and Ann, too. So Don Hart, that's Lucifer. That's an avatar of Lucifer. Don, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, but you are Lucifer. And you too, you're going to get indicted. And just like Sheila and Ann. And you don't believe me, you don't think you're Sheila, you don't think you're Lucifer, just go look at all the spouses of all the people I'm going to name and look at their cheeks, look at their face, and look deep in their eyes, and you're going to see yourself. You look at Michelle Obama, because Barack Obama is the old dragon, and Michelle Obama is you, Don. It's Lucifer. You look at Sheila Nan, Bhagwan's secretary. You look at Jim Jones' secretary. Also, I don't know her name, but she's also you. So you guys are in a scripted algorithm. You're just like Satan's beast system algorithm, and he's manufactured you people to come and mess with the 144, to fight, to go after the remnant. So you're just puppets, man, literally. You're just puppets. So you think your life looks real to you, but you're not. It's not real, And so this is what's really happening. And, you can look at Jimi Hendrix and his girlfriend, and you can look at Morgan Freeman and his wife, and all of them, they all fell. They all have, they have early deaths, or they fall and go to prison. Jim Morrison, so you didn't get your early death, so you got the bad. You basically, there's more egregious versions, and more like tamer versions. Like, I would say Christopher Lloyd is probably like a more, tamer version. But Archaix it's like there's levels of all these characters. And they're crossbred with other elements of different characters. It's really complicated. I've seen it. It's been shown to me. I'm not going to try and explain it in here, but there's like, it goes by there's all kinds of, there's the right, the left, the center, the brain, and the 7 chakras, and so there's different ones. But Archaix, you just happen to be one of the more egregious ones. So you're gonna you're gonna really go down. So I just just telling you. So you liked all my other content. You stole, but you're not gonna like this one. But the truth, the truth is the truth, and you just mark my words, Archaix. Because like I said, never, not once, since I started seeing all this stuff, it's almost like acid or DMT. I see it in real time. Can be connected things. I just, signs, symbols, songs, events, all connect, and I just see it, And it's been happening to me for 15 years, and I can tell you basically daily. And I can tell you not one single time has it been turned out to be inaccurate. So, I could, if I was a betting person, I could make a lot of money. I put it that way. But I don't believe in that. I believe the reason I have these visions is because I am, handling them correctly. Because I went through a period, like 2010, I got visions, and then I handled it. I went through a 5-year period of testing, and then I got more visions. So it's what you do with the visions. You have to earn them. You have to earn them. It may have taken me lifetimes to earn them. I don't even know. But I know for sure. You can't just, people are like, well, how did you fast? What kind of tea did you use? What kind of honey was it? And it's like, no, you're not going to be able to do it that way. You have to earn it. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's the reality check for Archaix. And a reality check for you, Aarons. Look, Aarons, you're in a cult, and it's a satanic cult. This is based on Satanism. If you look at Archaix, this phrase, break free or die trying, this is a satanic mantra. It goes back a long ways. Aleister Crowley and all of that. That's why the Statue of Liberty has a broken chain on its foot. The Statue of Liberty is Lucifer. And it's referring to the broken DNA chain. It's referring to the extra strands of DNA that are inserted when you take the, the mark of the beast. And I have another video, speaking of the mark of the beast, about how I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain that Archaix has taken the, the Donald Duck juice, the mark of the beast. And he, he had his little face diapers and he was all gung ho. He's voting for Trump. He believed in Trump. And now he's sick. And I'm telling you, he took it. He took it. That's what I think. And he can't admit it because all of his fake truth or washed up fake truth cult members are against it. So he's stuck starting to come down with the symptoms, which is basically this the kind of stuff you see people his age that took one or two of the marks. That's basically the kind of stuff they come down with. And Dawn too, she's had some issues, and I think she took it too. So it's like, this is what's really going on with you people. You took the mark, your avatars of Satan and Lucifer, and you're running a cult, and the authorities are closing in on you. Really, is what's happening, and it's really all coming down. As Adam's children, the 144, are cutting your neck with their tongue. So it's what it is. Our speech against you is what's gonna do you in, Archaix. So you can try and silence us, but you won't be able to. You know what I mean? You just can't. It's just how this is the script. Maybe, maybe we are the Bible. Maybe this thing runs in a loop, or it's just continuously happening. I mean, I don't really believe in time. And it's presented linear like this. So anyway, but no, all this stuff you're saying about Egypt is wrong. You don't really know about antiquity. You just know old fake truth. If you think about the whole concept of where you got your information, it's like your premise goes is like, oh well, back then everything. So basically all of Archaic stuff comes from the premise that old books are truth, as if there was not fake truth books back in the old days. He's believing the lie that this deception and this technology is all new. No, deception and technology has been going on for ages, and old books didn't tell the truth. They were just as deceptive as the new books are today. Walk into Barnes and Noble and see if you can find the truth in there, because you can't, and you can't find it from old books either. Archaics. The beast system made those old books. And recently, Archaix conceded that he no longer believes in linear time, which is a conclusion he got from my channel, by the way. And when he did that, he basically admitted that his whole theories, all his theories, are a fraud. And so the guy's a walking contradiction. He's a fraud. This is about money, power, ego. This isn't about truth telling. This guy's a put on being, if you ask me, and I don't know why anyone can't see through. How could you be taken by this guy? There's something really wrong with you if you think this guy's spitting truth and he's like really trying to help people and tell the truth. And no, I just don't see how anyone could believe that. If you believe that, you're in a world of hurt, if you ask me. So, all right, good luck, because you're gonna need Jason it. Is just a put on being. He's just an avatar of the old dragon. This is just a beast system puppet, one of many avatars. There's thousands of them, and he's just there's nothing valid in what Archaix is saying. You can't take some of his theories. The whole thing is trash. So, and the whole thing is a scam. This is a deception by the beast. It's really clear to me, and I don't know why people can't see it. Other than the fact that most of Archaix's followers seem to be, cybernetic transhumans already. They've already taken the mark.
Man, Matt's trying to send me to AA or something. Coffee with whiskey bourbon. I've been drinking coffee all day, like bourbon and Colombian coffee mixed together. Really? It's bourbon coffee. I'm a good old Southern boy, and I love my fried chicken. Coffee with whiskey bourbon. I've been drinking. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fucked up individual. I love beer. I'm a fucked up individual. I'm a good old Southern boy, and I love my fried chicken. I got anger management issues. I love beer. I got anger management issues. I can't get ahead in life. I'm always falling behind. I love beer. No matter how much money I make, I'm always broke. All right? I drink bourbon. Got bourbon up there. I'm just an ordinary guy, and I've got no agenda other than letting you know. I drink Cokes. I drink colas. I love beer. All right? I drink bourbon. Got bourbon up there. Okay, but look, I noticed this too. Here's his channel. Let's go to his channel, Archaix. Okay, he even has the devil's pitchfork. See where my cursor is? In his logo. There's this logo. And he has the devil's pitchfork. Because the devil has to tell you who he is. You know what I mean? They have to reveal themselves to us. But if you're too lazy and too delusional or whatever, and you've got other motives and you don't want to look at it, you'll miss the devil's pitchfork. But it says right there, and his name too. Like I said, Shohei Ohtani. If you start following him into baseball and thinking he's great, you should wake up. His name tells you he's a showy version of Satan, right there in his name. Just like this guy, Archaix. What is archaic? Well, the definition of archaic is old, and then IX. So, or he calls it AIX. So he's saying artificial intelligence X. So if you know anything about Masonry and transhumanism, X means transhuman. So he's telling you old AI transhuman. So, and he's got a devil's pitchfork. So it's right there in your face. He's the old dragon. He's the devil. He's Satan. Like I said, these characters must be identified. They have to be marked. And Jason's very well marked. He's clearly labeled as an avatar of the old dragon, and he's clearly labeled as a cult leader. I mean, he's got the pitchfork. He's got Jason. It's a scrambled anagram for Satan. Jason, Satan, get it? And he's got, the Archaix name, which basically says old dragon, right to your face. He's got the slogan break free or die trying, which is a, ancient satanic mantra referring to breaking the DNA code, God's DNA strand of 144, DNA chromosomes. And just like I told you, that's what the broken chain on the Statue of Liberty's foot is about. And you just look into Aleister Crowley and all the Satanists, that's what it is. So when he says break free or die trying, that's what he's talking about. And his whole, errant concept is also a marking. He has to tell you that you're in error with God. He has to tell you that you've messed up. Your error code, like you've messed up. You're in error. And so when you identify yourself as an errant, you're identifying yourself as somebody who's, in error with God and is now part of Satan's army. That's what it is. So, I mean, it's just real clear. You just have to have, just have to, you have to pay attention. There's other stuff too, like he's got the tattoos on his wrists of the chains symbolizing Satan's incarceration by God for 1,000 years. He's got on his chest, he's also got a tattoo of a start button. It says push to start. So this is not a joke, He didn't plan those tattoos. They were planned for him by the beast system.
There's a lot of other stuff. I talk about it on my BitChute channel, but it's just clear. I mean, you just got to open your eyes.
I love beer. All right, I drink bourbon. Got bourbon up there.
See?
You have the ear of millions of people like Joe Rogan. You would think you would fact coffee all day, like bourbon and Colombian coffee mixed together.
Really?
It's bourbon coffee. Yeah, man. Matt's trying to send me to AA or something. Yeah, man. Matt's trying to send me to AA or something. All right, I drink bourbon. Got bourbon up there.
And
I drink Cokes. I drink colas. I love beer. All right, I drink bourbon. Got bourbon up there. There's no way to ever prove my thesis. It's impossible. It's a paradox. There's just no way. So there's just no way. So there's just no way. So